All right, we'll get started with Coach Trickett today. Go ahead and raise your hand if you have a question for Coach, and Joey, we'll get started with you today. Thank you.
Yep. Hey, Coach Shoop, I think everybody
Hold on, wrong one.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. My mind is Coach Trickett. Well, this question would still apply. I think you look at last week's game, and everybody would agree it was a pretty good start-to-finish effort competitively. How do you follow that up? What's the keys to putting it together again this week and showing some consistency and building off that and putting together another start-to-finish game?
It started off with just, resiliency. I thought guys took upon themselves to make some plays. In previous weeks, like in the first drives, whether we had to drop or whatever it may be, kind of getting off schedule, and then someone making a play. Like this past game, first play, they played us differently. And so we had a play got strung out. And some of those plays are necessary evils because you got to, attack the flanks. And so it went for like a -3 or -4. And then GB, the next play, gained 14, on a run that was there. So then you get rolling with the first down and really good on third downs. We had opportunities just about on every third down other than one, I thought, to get a possible conversion. Against a really good third down defense. So we got to come out and got to execute again on third down. But I think it's just stacking those plays. And then when your number's called, making something happen. You know what I mean? And that's what it comes down to. That's details. It comes down to like understanding, hey, situational football, what's the down distance, what we're calling. If I'm a receiver with a route, I gotta have a great route plan. Perfect example was the touchdown that GB threw to Weave on the end zone close to the locker room on the corner route. If you look at it, Gary threw the ball before he even broke because we repped those throws over and over and over since fall camp through here. And that timing and that stuff paid off there, and same thing with detail, having a route plan. Like we've had a great route plan to sell inside, stuff to put the ground, got the kid turned around, hit vertical, knew when to stick it in the end zone, ran to the landmark that GB was throwing. So those things add up to those kind of plays. People just saying sometimes think it just happens. And we got to continue to do that and just stay on these details because that's what's the difference is between this and coming out on the other end that we want to come out on. So that's what we're preaching to our guys. Everyone's got to work a little bit harder, a little bit longer. Again, we're working hard and long, but got to find some more out of you and then really just stretch yourself individually and collectively to try to be better at those details. Because if we all do that, we'll close the gap, as Coach Scott said.
And do you think is the team to the point of maturity where it can do that sort of thing? Is that the next step where you able to stack?
Line it up for us because we got some pups and some guys. I mean, and yes, but it's also sometimes you got some inexperienced guys in there that have to play. Last week K1 Powell, who provided a spark for us, who was our deepest running back room, and all of a sudden a bomb blows off, and three of our top 4 guys are out, and Bat's got to go, and Bat's been really good, but he's not 200 pounds and can carry load for the entire time. And so a guy like K1 steps up and coming off an injury and his perseverance paid off, and so, but there's some times where, K1 went the wrong way, being a redshirt freshman that's missed some time, and so sometimes those things add up and it could be a routine thing. And usually like if you have your vet starting group out there, yeah, probably. But the good thing is what's been encouraging, here's maturity that I have seen is that the team's coaching in each other. So if someone messes up, there's somebody there, hey, you got to do this and get behind it. Or, hey, we got this, like the offensive line's coaching each other, running backs coach each other for every position, wideouts. And so that maturity, that growth is there. I want to say it's growth more or less than having, I don't know if we're there yet maturity wise overall, just because it's in pieces. But I do believe that the growth is there, and so we got to keep watering that growth and fertilizing that growth. So then its roots are firm and we can go out there and get a W and put it all together on Saturday.
Thanks, Coach.
Lanny?
If you had to pick out one or two details from this past weekend that you feel like you really need to put a strength on during this week, what do you feel you guys need to work on?
I think and that could probably go by position. I would say right now, number one, part of the details we call it ATD, attention to detail, but it's also alignment, assignment, technique. So we have, alignment. When you're ATD, how do you define that attention to detail? That's with us in football, it's your alignment, your assignment, your technique. And really, I think it's we pass pro really well last weekend, so we can continue to build on that. We also didn't put our guys in a lot of situations where they had to drop back and pass, because that was the number one team in sacks, so we want to be smart there. But just when it comes to receivers, whether it's route plans versus man or understanding coverages, and say, if this is what I got here, I've got to hit this at the top of my break point and be ready to go here. Quarterback, it could be, hey, make sure foot speed. We got to make sure our feet are fast at all times. It could be running backs, when it comes to pressing the block, as far as I think each position's got a little bit here and there. Because outside of that, honestly, obviously we all know about, the end of the game and all that kind of stuff, but it happened before that. We got to know, hey, when we get a speed sweep, we got to press that block. That block's got to drive through that hat. You got to shave that and just fall forward and be ready to near leg, near shoulder, and grind out and get whatever yard you can get, because every inch counts, obviously. And the plays before that, it stacks on. So I think it can be an all-encompassing thing, but each position has, I believe, what they need to work on. But really comes down to each guy being as great as they can be in their alignment, their assignment, their technique, and going out there and playing fast. If you know those three things, you can go play fast and be your best self. I thought we played fast on Saturday. So we got to continue to build on that and play fast this Saturday against a really good team.
And then obviously going through that heartbreaker again, all your guys are really hungry and want to finally get that win and finally get that pushing edge. What is pushing your guys through this week?
Each other, I think. We talked about on Saturday morning for the game about how football is hard. It's hard to be a student athlete, and everyone will say, well, they get this. Yeah, but these guys are up at 6 a.m. every day, and yes, they have a lot of things for them, but it's hard nowadays to deal with, the pressures you have as a football player, not only from an academic standpoint, athletic standpoint, and a physical standpoint, but now social pressures. They look at their phones, they hear what everyone thinks in the entire world every minute, and it's legitimized nowadays, because that's just the world we're in. And then you've got their family pressures from home. So there's a lot of stuff, a lot of clutter for guys nowadays. There's opportunities for a lot of clutter, and it's hard for them because now they got to eliminate a lot of clutter to be really good at what they do and always be ready for when their number's called. And so what's the driving force if you're out there trying to do these things and you're dealing with these pressures? What's the driving force if you're not getting the results that you want, which we all want wins? That's the first result. There's two kind of results people look for: is wins from a standpoint of results, is wins and in stats. That's what everyone looks for. But if you're not getting those, or if you're getting one without the other, can you be okay with that? And back in the day, you used to, because it was a team sport, and football is the ultimate team sport, in my opinion. But now we have to, we talked about how we not recognize it's hard for them. It's hard for us as coaches because we deal with the same pressure, different pressures, and we're all in this together. And so really it's fighting for the guy next to you. And it's the relationship you have in the locker room. So that's really what's got this team together, and their closes, man. They want to win for each other. They want to win for USF, and they believe in each other. They love each other, and they love their coaches, and the coaches love them. And we just got to keep fighting. And that was the message before the game. And we went out there and we fought, and we just got to line back up, and we got a great opportunity this week at home. So we need to line up and tee it off.
Awesome. Thank you.
Very good. JJ, go ahead.
Hey, good morning, Coach.
Morning.
Just wanted to ask, Tulane's another tough defensive opponent. Where do they rank on the defenses you played this season? And, since you played so many tough defenses, what's comparable to the ones you played so far? The attack.
Yeah, that's a great question. We have gone through some defenses, that's for sure, which is good. We're battle tested. That's the one thing you can't say about us. We were 100% battle tested. They are a different kind of defense. So, some teams are very aggressive, very attack style, very multiple, very this. These guys are very sound, very disciplined, very physical, very good effort. but they want to hit you. They want to play hard. They want to get their hands on you, and they want to come at you. But they do it within a structure that doesn't allow usually really explosive plays. Like, they don't give up a lot of people going by them this year because of what they do structurally. It's a bend, don't break, but the moment you try to get greedy, then all of a sudden it's 2nd and 10, and then all of a sudden it's 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8, and then you got a long down distance you got to convert. So it's going to be it's a great question. It's just a different kind of defense that's really good. I mean, it's like, there's all different kinds of food and different kinds of people and all that. They're all different, and this is a very different kind of defense. From being an odd front defense with being able to try to eat up your linemen and let the linebackers run, and playing a lot of mix and match zone coverages on the back end, and then trying to mix in some 4 down and then 3rd down, try to get exotic on you. So it's a very sound defense. They've done a very good job with the personnel they have, putting them in position to be successful, in my opinion. Because if you try to do maybe some other defenses with the personnel, may not be what they do best. But they've done a good job recruiting and coaching to what they've got. They got a good coaching staff, obviously, and they turn that thing around defensively. So it's a challenge for us. I would say it's up there. They're all good. They all are. So far, they've all been good just about. And so we just got it's just another task. You sit there and you say, you get in there on Sunday, you're hoping, man, all right, we breathe a little bit. Let's see what we got this week. And then it's no breathing. You're back at it. So that's just life. And but it's a great challenge for us. We got to step up. They're a very good scoring defense and don't give up many points. So we got to find a way to score points.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, one more for you, Coach, from Russ Wood, whose mic's not working. He wants to talk about if you can just address the offensive line, maybe some adjustments we've made there with the injuries, and then particularly Darrell Bailey's performance last week.
Yeah, that's a great question. It kind of goes by the day about who's available. That's how we live our life right now. It's literally we have our emergency plans, but that we're in our emergency plans right now, and then it's who's available, and then we'll ride with it and make it work, and just make sure we're not doing anything that they can't do. But we've Trey Jacobs bumped over left tackle for us, and we were kind of playing Mike Lofton at some right tackle and right guard, and Darrell Bailey at some right tackle, and Dustin Hall was playing guard for us. And then when Brad went down, Dustin went to center. And so we've got some very versatile. Coach Mo does a phenomenal job. I don't know, he's our offensive line coach, is one of the best in the country. And so he's had those guys prepared for a long time. And that's the great thing about having him as an offensive line coach. And these guys up front, these kids battle, man. They're tough. They don't ask for much. You got Meach playing on a foot injury that you can't barely walk on a Monday and Tuesday, but he's out there, balance rear end off on Saturday, and they're just such a good group of young men. So, but Darrell Bailey's probably a young guy that's got a lot of upside, kind of coming to his own now a little bit. Missed a lot of the offseason with the shoulder. Had started off spring ball really well, and then had a shoulder injury that had been a career thing for him. He's had it since before he got here, and it just amplified a little bit more. So we decided to get it fixed. And he missed a lot of fall camp. He missed all of summer, missed a lot of fall camp. And so it's one of those late bloomer things that he's got a very bright future. It's just growing pains right now that for any young lineman, not him specifically, but any young lineman goes through. But he has handled it extremely well and performed very well for a young man. So right now it's whoever's available, we'll roll. We've got a couple centers, we got a couple guards, got a couple tackles. We got a couple more options at guard and maybe center. Not so much at tackle anymore. So we just got to make sure we stay upright and do what those guys can do, so we can go out there and play well on offense on Saturday.
All right, thank you very much, Coach. We Coach Shoop down here. Appreciate you.
Thank y'all.
All right, we'll take questions for Coach Shoop. Joey, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, Coach Shupe, I think, most people would agree that from start to finish in a lot of areas, it was the most complete game you played last week against Cincinnati. How do you stack it up and have a similar performance this week and not not go down? What are the keys to kind of maintaining that level and keeping that level as we move forward?
Well, I mean, we started out with a good week of practice, I thought, and our leaders kind of set the pace. I mean, Dwayne Boyles is that guy. I mean, his leadership and his demeanor are off the charts. And then, we just got off to a better start. The offense drove down the field and scored, and we got an interception in the first place. I mean, I think there's just these are kids, right? And you have a little bit of success early. There was a little bit of a confidence level. Even though Cincinnati went and scored on the next couple drives, we knew we were in the game, and it wasn't, snowballed against us right there. So when you're in the game, you're going to compete for the entirety of it. And, you should all the time, but I mean, I get it. And, at the end, unfortunately, they made a couple more plays than we did, or vice versa. We didn't make a couple plays that we needed to do. I mean, it's similar in that respect to the Florida game, in that we had a lead against a good team on the road in the fourth quarter and ended up not winning. So we take some positives away from it. Like, we were 5 for 7 on third down. We had a couple sacks. We had some tackles for loss. We competed. We had a nice fourth down stop. But we recognize the object is to win, and there's no moral victories with regard to that.
Thanks, Coach.
Lanny, go ahead.
What is something that you've been looking at Tulane when it comes to their offense and training this week to head into this weekend?
They're very balanced. They can throw the ball and run the ball well. Their quarterback's very experienced, and when he's hot, he's really, really hot. The running back's very good. They actually run a little bit of wildcat, which is a little bit unorthodox. They probably do as much from a formation perspective. They probably have as many formations and looks as any team we play. They're playing with tremendous confidence. Obviously, they're just a play or two away from being undefeated. They have won road games against Kansas State and Houston. So they're they've played a bunch of close games, but they're very well coached. Very challenging operation on offense.
And then how does it feel to finally be back home after weeks of being on the road?
Yeah, I don't know that I've coached probably the longest of anybody on our staff, and I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that. I think I was talking to Mekhi LaPointe the other day. I said the last time we were in the home locker room was after the Howard game. So much has happened since the Howard game, and whether it's going up to Gainesville, whether it's traveling to Louisville, whether it's traveling to having the experience of the hurricane and being in Fort Lauderdale and Boca Raton, and then last week heading to Cincinnati. Just every Saturday it seems like we're getting home at midnight or 1 in.the morning, and it just 4 straight weeks of that takes its toll on you both mentally and physically. The players have been incredible. They've been resilient. They're doing everything they can to be professional. They show up every morning for meetings and practice. Then they get to the training room, they eat, they go to class, they eat dinner, they take care of the academic obligations, they go to sleep, and they come back and do it again. And we just need to play better. And we're looking forward to be at Ray J on Saturday. We're looking forward to the homecoming crowd and hopefully the support from our fans. And I know our players are excited to play and have an opportunity to play well.
And then my last question for you is, do you see that the players kind of have a sigh of relief that they have the comfort of playing a home game for the first time in a while?
I don't know. It hasn't really come up in that respect. Probably won't know. Really, I mean, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whether it's a home game or away game, are really exactly the same. And then Friday, just not getting on a plane and whatnot. So I think they are looking forward to not having to get on a plane or a long bus trip or anything like that. The hardest part of this season thus far is one of the things I really like about football is you get into a routine. And because of everything that's gone on thus far this year, including the 3-hour weather delay in the opening game and traveling because of the hurricane, I just don't feel like this team I'm not sure we've ever gotten into that routine. And that's somewhat unfortunate because it's a lot of things that are beyond our control. And I understand you got to control the controllables and you got to overcome those things. And it's like a sudden change in football, but it's still a challenging task. And so I think we're looking forward to the second half of the year, maybe a little bit more routine, a little bit more normalcy to things.
Awesome. Thank you, Shoop.
JJ?
Hey, good morning, Coach. I just wanted to see, you spoke about Dwayne at linebacker, and just How does DJ Gordon complement him throughout the season? I know Greer was out due to his father's passing, but if you can just touch on DJ Gordon's play so far this season.
Yeah, DJ is really good. I mean, DJ and Dwayne are both upper level American Conference players, in my opinion. I mean, we certainly miss Antonio, whether it's been some of the health issues he's had, and our thoughts and prayers are with him as he's going through what he's going through with his family. He's a good man, a good leader, and played a lot of football here. But that's a position of depth for us. The fact that DJ and Antonio and Dwayne are three of our linebackers, we're very, very excited about, and we have some other injuries at that position, but, Dwayne Boyles every day shows up and he practices hard and he provides energy and leadership, and his approaches put him in a position that he's going to be in the discussion for some NFL teams. DJ Gordon is, he's more of a standard traditional Mike linebacker. He's very, very good in the run game. He runs the ball well. He's fast and he can tackle and he's physical. He's got to get a little bit better on with the detail type things, blitz angles and blitz paths in coverage. Those are things that he needs to do, but this has been just an incredible experience for him. And we're certainly very, very fortunate to have him.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach, two questions from Russ Wood, whose mic is not working. One, if you can maybe address the passing of Antonio Greer's father and how that's impacted him. And then the second, speak to the rotation that you've had to deal with your back end secondary with the number of injuries there.
Yeah, Antonio, I mean, I can't speak to how it's affected him. I mean, that'd be a question for him. It's a very personal thing. I guess when we were in Fort Lauderdale, we found out his father had taken a turn for the worst, and we got Antonio home, and I'm glad that he was able to be with his father before he passed. And then when he passed, I mean, I only saw him briefly because he's been kind of with his family and spending time with them since then. We've touched base a few times via text, and that's hard for anybody. I'm fortunate to have both my parents alive still, and my wife's mother passed 8 years ago. So I mean, I've seen this. I understand this. I know Antonio and his family and Antonio and his father were close. So, I mean, I can only imagine what he's going through, but I hope Antonio knows that our thoughts and prayers are with him, and we all have his back. As far as the secondary, it's been weird. It's been a weird year. We're about to go into game 7, and we're going to start our 7th different combination in the secondary. So, I mean, it's really hard to believe. And I think that's really, when I come back to saying the issue about routine, that's the thing that's been frustrating. We haven't really gotten into a routine. We haven't gotten into a situation, any consistency, because we're juggling guys, we're moving guys around. Several players have played multiple positions. I mean, TJ Robinson's played corner and safety. Matt Hill played nickel and he played safety last game. DeMarcus has played both strong and free safety, depending on the week. So just that's been very difficult and very challenging, but that's no excuse. I mean, it's our job as coaches to get, each player ready for the situation. And, and our players have done a good job working hard to be prepared and, working hard to be their very, very best, on Saturdays.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate you.